Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Joined by Pat Jones, owner of Portland Marine, and his head and electronics guy, electronics guru, somewhere in there. Military background, worked on billion-dollar projects, machineries. I mean, stuff that's out there keeping us all safe and alive. Thank you for the service, by the way.
My pleasure.
But now you're a civilian. And you're finding out all the civilian issues that we have to deal with, right? And I know that there was a little bit of a learning curve when you first got here, at least to Portland Marine, on going from military aspects and absolute precision to what is this mess? We're going to talk a little bit about that. So when you get this situation, right, somebody comes in, they've got a box, right, and now you're going to have to show them exactly how or what it's going to take to install it. How do you explain all that when you're from the battery to the mounts themselves? Take me through that process.
Pat covered a good portion of it. It's what kind of boat do you have? Is auto stow and deploy important to you? And then it's size considerations. So lithium or AGM batteries, ultimately the cost is about the same at this point, so there's no real savings there. And then how it is that you're going to be operating the boat. What are you doing fishing? In my world of being on boats, it's safety first, mission always. So the auto stow and deploys have a really nice feature where I don't have to expose myself to the bow cap. I keep myself safe, but the manual stow and deploys, we get a little bit more functionality, especially going with the same brand of display and trolling motor. Overall, they've really done the same thing. Everybody has the same motor out there. They do about the same thing. Lowrance says that they have the best in-class power. In private testing, they found that the Krakens do pretty well as just like full-out chooching, but control, it's what you're familiar with and what you're comfortable with, and then what you need out of the units.
That's a good point. When you're talking about the remotes, because I went from a Minn Kota to a Garmin. Garmin is extremely easy, which I absolutely appreciate. Then I have got buddies that really, really like that computer that you have in your hand from Minn Kota. Now, I never liked it. There was way too much stuff going on, but everybody's different. If you're familiar with it already from a different product, then it's just sliding over and it's pretty easy. But having the RK40 remote being the same remote that's for the bow mount, for me, it's just, I don't even look at it. It's just, and I'm up and running. Okay, so would battery be like top of the list to get started with? You know, what kind of battery do you want to have in there?
It definitely has to do with how you're using the boat. If
Okay.
you're going to be primarily fresh water, we're not doing anything big water or going out on the Columbia, Buoy 10, offshore, anything like that, then we're in a 24-volt range. We can get away with the less power, right around 90 thrust pounds instead of the 112 or 115 that you would get out of a 36. The beautiful thing now is they're all brushless, so it's 24 or 36. It's an instantaneous change. Take the wires off, put in a 36-volt battery, and I have 115
Well, and this happens to be a 12-volt, okay? But the 24-volt is the same thing, okay? And
Same size.
same size.
Same size.
Same
weight.
size.
Weight.
The weight's the same?
I think it's pretty.
It is.
Yeah. It's
24 and 12 is
Don't
the same
ask
weight?
me why.
Get a 24 then, for crying out loud. But I mean, they don't weigh anything. That is a huge consideration, especially back in the beginning when folks wanted to have remember the old school 101s, right? When the 101-pound thrust came out, they were 36-volt only. You had to put 3 lead-acid batteries up front, and you added a couple hundred pounds, it seemed like. And for a lot of boats, you could feel the difference in that bow. Not comfortable for a lot of folks. I myself run a 36-volt, this exact battery, which, by the way, I love. Super easy to keep charged. Pretty much just dummy-proof. It tells you when it needs it all. And it just seems like it goes forever. We were talking about prior to the show starting, that I'll literally run my boat 3 or 4 days, and mine's just a 21, but it's a very heavy 21 overall, and it makes you lazy because some of these batteries will hold that juice for so long that you kind of forget that you do have to maintain it and that you do have to charge it. So that would be my recommendation. Lithium for me is all the way across the board, and they're really durable. I mean, they can take. Up in the bow is where I have all mine, like most people do, but not all. They can take a lot more abuse than, say, those older style batteries that on impacts can cause issues. Again, if you know, you know. If you're old like me, you know. But there's a lot more to that, right? So you got to have the right battery. You also have to have the right mount, the bow mount. You mentioned earlier that if you wanted to have your anchor and a bow mount, that's different, right? But this is actually just the Minn Kota size, but obviously there's different versions that are out. Ampro can help you with that as well, but there's a lot of different things.
Yeah, and this one can be swapped out for an anchor cradle. So if you're going to leave your Minn Kota at home, then you just take this apart. This is the only part that's actually on the boat is this bottom part. And they beefed this up over the years because the new Instincts are heavier, so they beefed this up quite a bit. This is what gets mount righted on the bow, and you can put an anchor cradle right in this as well. So that's
So you do have functionality.
yeah, so you can go back and forth, but if you want both up there at the same time, which I don't know why you would, but you know.
Well, I'll tell you why. I've had several of them, and now I've got another one with my anchor and my bow mount. And here's why I do it. World goes to garbage. Something bad, catastrophic happens. You're in a river. What do? You throw your anchor, okay?
Yeah.
If you don't have it, you can't do that. Okay, so there's reasons why some do and some don't. I have to have that bow mount. It's a security blanket.
Yeah,
for
most
me.
people bring an anchor and they'll just put it somewhere else in the boat.
If you got the room to do it, do it. I like having both of them available just so I don't have to do anything. But again, there's a number of reasons for it. But back to the install. This is something that I pointed or just smelled it. I mean, this is old stuff, right? Out of other boats.
Yep.
It is.
Right? It smells like fuel. Just all of you, do yourself a favor. Don't let any of your cables or anything get in that situation. But is that's stuff that you run into. So kind of give me an idea of what you run into.
It is. So picking out the motor and the battery, that's the easiest part of the battle. A lot of people already have an idea of what they want on brand or the auto stow and deploy. It's the ancillary componentry that will get you into trouble. We go to do the home install and we're going to skip some things or we're going to cheap out these thermal circuit breakers.
You can put it right here to see if we can get a shot with that Kershaw Tech Cam, but that is a circuit breaker, absolutely important.
This is what protects the motor if something does fail. The motor glitches, the battery glitches, neither of them are ever going to affect each other. You can get these for like 12 bucks off Amazon. They're from another country and they're terrible. They have the effect that you would think, about 6 months of runtime and then it's toast.
Then it dies.
And what did you do? You saved yourself $45 versus the $5,000 that it costs for the motor.
Right.
Same thing with the cabling. This is from the epitome of a home install.
So basically, go back to this. So basically, you're saying get yourself a good one.
Good
right?
one.
Yes.
Yes, quality.
Don't try and save money in the ancillary components. That's here for a
Ancillary is
reason.
above our pay grade. Knock it down a little bit.
Don't try and save money in the extra things. Save money on the main units, the batteries and the trolling motor itself through a reputable discount.
Gotcha.
Buying it off Craigslist, you know, that's one way to save, but do it through a real shop, somebody that gives you the warranty. If something so expensive breaks, you want to be able to come back to me and I take care of you.
Yep, exactly.
The cabling is another huge thing. Home install. We twisted wire onto a home grade cabling and electrical taped. I don't know how much your boat costs, but they're all at least a few $1,000s. I'm not trying to burn my boat down.
Right. And
so
that'll do
I
it.
love this.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that'll really cause massive issues.
These are all things we took out of boats.
I can believe it.
Within the last year.
These wires, this is non-compliant. It's a non-marine grade cable, just sat in water. It looks like it's a 6-gauge wire. This is 14-gauge cabling.
Holy moly.
This is marine grade. It just sat in fuel and soaked because it was installed inappropriately. They should put it inside of a chase or a loom. And then even this stuff where it looks like it is the appropriate cable, heavy duty, has the right colors, this is welding cable. As soon as it touches fuel or water, it turns into that. On big boats, this was the #1 thing I would pull out in 2-aught and 4-aught size where the sleeve is entirely gone and you're electrifying your boat.
Wow.
Lots of battery issues. These are compliant wires with the right sized terminals and crimps. It's properly heat shrinked, Ancor, Cobra, as long as it says marine grade. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
You pay about $3 more per foot of the wire. It's worth every penny of it.
Right.
So again, savings in your batteries and on your main units. Do this stuff appropriately. Protecting your unit is protecting yourself and protecting your vessel.
Okay, which you say protecting your vessel, and what he's referring to with aluminum in particular, you get electrolysis, things go really bad. You can start burning holes in your aluminum, you can start having weird leaks. I mean, this is all stuff that in 2025 could be easily avoided, all the way down to the accessories that you need to have. You have all that in stock. This is something that you might not think all that much about, but my buddy Mike out there just learned recently that if you don't have something to protect that bow mount when it's stowed and on the road, on the trailer, or even on the water, it starts slapping around. Your $5,000 motor is going to turn into 50 bucks. Because you're too lazy or too cheap to put on something like that to keep it stuck in one place so it's not bouncing around. These are all things that they have at Portland Marine. These are the questions that they can answer for you. And they can, instead of going to a company that's not going to be there for you and buying it for a cheaper price, get the same price or at least relative to it, take it to them, have it installed the right way, and in the long run, you're going to save yourself a ton of money. Okay, so I'm down to about 45 seconds. Last thing that we can part away with. Pat, I'll leave it to you. What's the last thing we can make sure they're aware of?
Just that there are that don't just look at the price of the motor. You're gonna spend more money on the extra stuff to install. So you know, there's even for maintenance, you know, like Todd was talking about protecting your wire connections.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
put
for
in
sure.
a good corrosion block. We brought this in for the belts on the auto deploys.
Okay.
This is a good product for those to keep them working and not sticking.
Okay.
So, and
I would
that's
not have thought of
that's
that.
just lemon pledge or
Yeah,
that
sure.
type of thing. The fins, that will save the power.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an extra steering device on the bottom of your Minn Kota, the motor won't have to work as hard because it's not using the motor to turn, it's using your rudder to turn.
Minn
So-
Kota only, as
yeah.
of right now. Garmin
Yes,
and
yeah,
Lowrance won't
yeah,
have that
yeah.
ability
But
for the Lelock to fit. But
You're right.
in the end, bottom line is, you can save yourself a little bit of money, especially this time of year, and have it installed professionally with the backing that if something were to go wrong, that you're able to get that handled. So, Pat, Todd, thanks for coming in and sharing a little insight. This is the #1 upgrade that people are doing right now on their boats, and this is how you can get it done the right way and still save on that head unit and, of course, and the power for it of all. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming in. We appreciate
You
it.
bet.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon, all right? All right, we're going to cut away. When we come back, I've got David Johnson live from the coast. Don't miss that.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.